Hey, Twin Cities, it's your girl, Glam Life Kim. And of course, it is time for Minneapolis 360 with one of my favoriteest people in the Twin Cities, Mr. Anthony Taylor. How are you today, bro?
You always make me feel good. Like, I just got a smile on my face every time. It's been years. I feel like a little kid every time I come, man.
That's the energy.
It's the energy. That's that love, right?
It is,
so
that's love.
you are one of my favoriteest people all time. Looking good as
yay.
always.
Thank you. Look, I wasn't feeling it today because it's gloomy outside, so that made me feel better.
It made you feel better. Hey, check it out. We were talking off the air. Like, it's gonna be like hot this weekend. You say you can't wait, huh?
I'm super excited. I ain't gonna know how to act. If y'all see me down West Broadway wear some shorts and a tank top, just let me have my moment.
Yeah, they just leave you alone. just hit me up on social. Say, Kim, you look good. Like, it was good.
Let me have my moment. I am gonna act up.
I know we always wait for the heat to come on.
Right.
You know, I think me and you are so the same. Like, we get tired of this weather, but we want the heat, right?
Seasonal depression,
man,
is
it's real. It is definitely
These
real.
gray skies will do it to me every time.
Man, you want to stay in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like today, we get out, we make it happen because we got to.
Because we have to.
Yeah.
And because we love all of you that are tuned in listening right now.
100%. Hey, y'all, I am so glad to be with y'all. First of all, happy belated Memorial Day. My name is Anthony Taylor. I'm from the city of Minneapolis here with Minneapolis 360. Always my pleasure to come to you. Yeah, y'all know this is my favorite time of the week. Like, every time I'm here, I'm geeked up. Y'all, I walk into the studio, I see some of my favorite people. You know, and it's only 30 minutes, but it's one of the best 30 minutes that I have during the
every week. Come
on. So like, it's a beautiful thing. So
it is. I look forward to it too.
Rain, sleet, snow, shine, we in the building, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of my favorite topics, Minneapolis, and we've had this topic on before, and I want to kind of get into it so we can just really kind of dig in, because the last time we had this topic, Kim, there was a lot of people who called in with questions, right? So Minneapolis, if you don't know what this show is about, it is about renters' rights.
Yes.
Your rights as renters, right? Kim, you know, all of us are either renting or have rented before, and we have been in situations where we ain't being treated right.
That part.
You know, there's things that happen that we're not getting, you know, our just due for. We're not repairs. You know, we may have complaints and our landlord may retaliate against us. There's a lot of things that happen.
And we don't know where to go or what to do.
Or what to do, right? And sometimes we feel stuck. Like, sometimes we have to just accept those things.
Yeah.
And I was telling Glenn Golden, I was like, you know, sometimes, you know, when you work hard for the things that you do and you want to be treated fairly.
Absolutely.
Because money is not easy to come by.
It's not. And you work hard for it. And so you like, hey, I just want to be able to appreciate the things that I have.
100%, right? So Minneapolis, if you have a question for this guest, the number is 612-377-3456. I have the perfect person on the line. I've known this brother since I have worked in the city of Minneapolis. Donald Brown, housing liaison for regulatory services, one of my favorite people in the world. Brother Donald, welcome to Minneapolis 360, bro. How is your day going, man?
Hey, Donald.
Baby, I'm good, man. All is well. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate you all for extending the invitation to our team to be on here to help educate our people, help inform the community about their rights, man. So definitely excited to be here.
Yeah, man. And you've been on before, bro. And like I say, I know your work. I know the work of your team, man. Fellow colleagues, Daryl Spears, Karmen Black, a lot of good people that's in the regulatory services, housing liaison department. But listen, Donald, let's get straight into it, right? Because I have a feeling there's going to be folks who want to call in about some of the things they're experiencing, right? So you've been on before, man. But like JC, like, reintroduce yourself, bro. Like, tell us who you are, what you do for the housing liaison team.
So yes, sir. So I'm Donald Brown. I am one of the housing liaison team members. Our team is comprised of 6 people, including our wonderful leader, our manager, Demetrius Walker. And so we are, we're in place just to help. We partner and connect. You know what I'm saying? Even though we represent the city of Minneapolis, we come out to help bridge that gap between community and the city enterprise, right? And so we come out to help represent the residents of Minneapolis, the community of Minneapolis, renters, property owners, anyone that's dealing with those complex housing situations that, you know what I'm saying, is difficult to navigate. we come into place to help mediate, provide resources. I don't care if you got concerns about retaliation, complaints, threats of eviction, you connect with us and we'll help connect you with the appropriate resources to navigate you through that process.
And that's a huge need, Brother Donald, because I think, and me and Glam Life was talking about it just a few minutes ago, like there's a lot of things people don't know, right? So, and I think and we'll get into it, and you touched on it, like some of maybe the retaliation and fears that folks might have, but people deserve the right to be treated fairly when you're paying for the rent to live in a place, right? So, and I can think about some of the things that I would experience, like my refrigerator was leaking, or my hot water wouldn't turn on, or the heat wasn't working, all of those things, because I've been a renter a lot throughout my lifetime. And one of the things, right, Kim, like we experience these things, right? And if we haven't, we know family members will have, right?
Yep,
so like if you have a maintenance issue, Donald, in your home, like what should be your next steps, right?
Well, first and foremost, that's a very good question. First and foremost, understand something. Everyone has the right to live in safe, comfortable, sufficient housing, right, for them and their families. And so if you're running into what we call common, violations or common concerns that you may have with your unit, especially if it's something that you brought to the property owner's attention, they have not addressed it. The first thing, I don't care if it's from leaks, chipping paint, if the appliance is not working right, if you're dealing with infestation concerns or heat issues, things of that nature, what your first thing is for you to do is to reach out, and contact Minneapolis 311. That's the first initial point of contact, because that establishes a paper trail. And then once you notify them, letting them know that you're having these concerns that you brought to the property owner that have been unaddressed or not being done sufficiently, and they'll connect you over to the appropriate individuals, like the inspections department. They'll connect. Our team will get involved with it, especially if it's something that could potentially lead to you being displaced. That's when we step in to help advocate, help mediate, to help come to compliance. Our number one priority is livability and life safety. We want to make sure that that you and your families are in livable, safe spaces that you all can call home. It doesn't matter if you own it or whatever. You have rights as a renter, and our job is to empower and educate you, to let you know, I don't care what your lease says, what your landlord or your property owner may be telling you. We want to let you know that you have rights, and we're going to help empower and educate you on those things and connect you with those resources.
That's good.
We are talking with Donald Brown, Housing Liaison, Regulatory Services, Minneapolis. This is the Renters' Rights Show. Call up 612-377-3456. And Donald, I'm so glad you said that, because we'll get into it, right? Because the fear, right, of retaliation. And retaliation can look in a lot of different ways. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, because all of those ways that landlords may have retaliated, whether it's raising the rent up or constant saying, I got to get into your unit, or not fixing these, or claiming a false claim that you got too many guests and making too much noise. There's so much stuff, Donald, and I know you've heard about that, man. So like when somebody, when you're hesitant, right, that a home or landlord will retaliate, talk to folks about like what can happen. What's the process that folks maybe feel if there's retaliation, or worried about retaliation against them if they report some of these things that's happening in their unit?
Absolutely. Understand something. First and foremost, please know that retaliation is illegal. I'm going to say it again. Retaliation is illegal. I don't care if it's listed in your lease, if they tell you or threaten you, if you call the city, if you make a report, you do this or you do that, I'm going to do this. Those are all threats. That's all wolf tickets that's being sold to you. At the end of the day, you have rights. And so just because you retaliate, there are rights that protect you in order, when you want to make a complaint, you have concerns, make those complaints. And what we would do is that if you are being retaliated against, even though we're not attorneys and we legally can't provide legal advice, you know what I'm saying? We do partner with free external resources that we can connect you with attorneys, legal representation, those individuals who will represent you, talk with you, talk through your case with you, because every situation is going to be just that, situational. But we're going to shorten the distance and connect you with those resources to help you navigate that situation. So don't feel like you can't, if your plumbing is off or something is going on in your home, you're in fear. It's a fear tactic that they use. And so at the end of the day, we want to remove that fear component and empower you with the tools necessary. So we will connect you with those services. They know that we're going to be connecting residents to them when we run into those situations, and then they're going to do their due diligence to walk you through the appropriate next steps in that.
Yeah, I appreciate you said that. Again, Renters' Rights Minneapolis, talking to Donald Brown, Housing Liaison, Regulatory Service Department, talking about renters' rights. And Donald, I'm gonna kind of get off this topic just a little bit, because
Yes, sir.
one of the things that I think is important about you and your team is that you all bring like real life experience to your role, right? So like, you are engagement people, you guys are knowledgeable, you talk about everything. I mean, you can diffuse situations because you educate the community on their rights. And just talk a little bit about like how that feels, right? Like, how does that operate when you like come on scene? Because I think I would love to see somebody who looks like me being able to talk to me about the things that I got my rights and what I can do. So like, just talk about the purpose and the mission of you and your team.
Our team is very unique, and strategic on how we approach situations. We don't look at the issue that's going on. We deal with the individual, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with people who are being impacted by these living conditions. And so even though some may be looking at things, through the ordinance, which is black and white, we come in, and what we like to refer to it as our team humanizing the process. Yep. We come in to build a rapport with the individual that's on the other side of things. We help them be able to interpret the wording that they may be seeing on that notice or that they got in the mail. We help them be able to navigate that process and to remove remove the stress that comes along with it, right? And deal with the person, building that rapport, getting to the root of whatever their situation, their lived experience is. We empathize with them, we understand, and we all come from different backgrounds, and we bring to spaces to help humanize who we're dealing with. And when you deal with people, and we lead every interaction with respect. First of all, we're coming into your personal space. We're coming into your environment. So we're never going to disrespect someone, because respect goes a long way. Yeah. We're going to effectively communicate with you to explain the process. Most people don't understand what the process entails when they get this letter or they see this notice on their door. So we come to establish those expectations to let you know what you can expect through the process, what you can expect from our team, from the enforcement side of the house, and everything else, to make sure everyone is under the understanding of what's going to happen next. And we've seen a lot of cases, or have had success stories, if you will, with people just understanding and knowing the process, and people taking time out to explain things to them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what we do. We take that time needed in order to establish those expectations. And what that does is build rapport and a workable rapport between community and the enterprise.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because respect goes a long way, right? It goes a long way. And one of the things I think is important, because as a City of Minneapolis employee, you're an individual first, and then you're a community member first too, right? So I think I'd want to be treated like, I'm a community member, right? And so being able to have those relationships, at least that rapport, I think is important, especially when it comes to the paperwork, because the devil's in the details with all of those with paperwork, right? All the time, Donald. And then when we start talking about paperwork and everything else, I would love for you to sit here and talk about like the some of the barriers, right? So we know one of the biggest things is the backgrounds, right? So like I may have some things on my record, whether it's an unlawful detainer or something else, or all of those things, but it's a huge barrier. Maybe it's a Section 8, right? That some of these folks don't take these vouchers. So talk a little bit about the barriers in the screening process.
Absolutely, and barriers are just those things. Are barriers which can be which we can overcome, which we can step on, remove, whatever it may be. But don't get discouraged by the barrier. And when you're looking at and dealing with the most common one is the background screenings, right? Generally, people are maybe fearful or being concerned. I can't apply for this location because of the fact of they're gonna look at my background. Let's just be honest. Everyone has a history. Everyone has a past. Understand something, that property owners, when they go through the process, there's called a screening process. Now, there are certain criteria or certain things that that a renter that cannot be used against them, such as a person's criminal history, rental history, and credit history, right? Those things cannot be used against you when it comes to you applying for rent, right? Or applying to move into a space. The property owners have options. They can either choose to use the city's standard process, which is called the inclusive screening option, or they can consider other applications on what's called an individual basis. If they choose not to use the city standard, then they must allow the applicant to submit extra information, such as like references from a caseworker, documentation on a certain that speaks to a certain situation that may pop up. They have to allow their renter an opportunity to explain themselves and provide documentation for that. That's why that's one of the reasons why the ordinance, the Renters' Rights Campaign, was put in place to help in that process to let people know that just they can't hold these things against you. And these are the things that we try to educate and empower the community on, so that way they know. People perish for a lack of knowledge. And so I heard someone say an informed people is a powerful people. If you provide them with the information and the tools necessary, they'll be able to move forward and still win. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what we do in that process to help them overcome. And we've also partnered with even Hennepin County. They do expungement clinics where there's they hold these clinics throughout the city, to be able to help people get things expunged off of their records. You know what I'm saying? And so we make sure that when we find out about these clinics, we spread it out through our different resources, our networks, letting the community know. Y'all go to these things, go to these events, so these spaces that help get, and they do these things free of charge. You showing up, giving your name, letting them know your situation, and they'll help you get these things off your record to help better your livable experience.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. Again, Minneapolis, we're talking renters' rights. Donald Brown, Housing Liaison, Regulatory Services Department for the city of Minneapolis. We've got about 13 minutes left, Minneapolis. If you got any questions for Donald, hit us up, 612-377-3456. And Donald, I just want to go back here real quick to what you said, because something just kind of caught my attention. And like, there's a bunch of rules and regulations, right? The Renters' Rights Program and the education, I think, is like really great, because like you talked about it, what you don't know, you don't know, and information is power. And if there's so many guides for these landlords to go through, right? So whether it's the individual screening or the Minneapolis screening, the market is so competitive, right? So if I get denied for this place I wanted to do rent because of my credit score, but there's no information that says it was based on my credit score, right? So like, there's no follow up to say the reasons why. I'm assuming that I got denied, but I wish it was more of a follow up that people could give, or is there, right, to landlords when they say, okay, I denied you because of this reason, right? That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and property owners, because of the new ordinance that's put in place, when you apply for a property and you get denied, they should be providing you with that reasoning as to why you were denied, okay. And so that way you can be able to gauge to make sure that things were done according to the criteria that they were using. If they use the city standards, they use the individual criteria, as I was speaking to, they need to be providing you with the explanation as to why they denied you. And if it's something where you're on the fence about, where you're feeling like, you were violated in that, or they looked at the wrong thing, or they're holding a pass against you, feel free, again, reach out to Minneapolis 311. They already know to connect. They will connect you with our team. One of our team members will reach out to you to be able to get more information, and we have, to be able to file those, to pursue those concerns, if you will, file those complaints, bringing in the appropriate individuals that handle the enforcement side of if a person's rights have been violated, and going through there. We have partnerships with the Attorney General's office, with the Civil Rights Department. We have internal teams that we work with as well that help us to be able to navigate these situations when they come abreast.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I know that's just something that I think people would want to know. And again, there's a lot of other barriers, but I kind of want to jump to maybe something I think all of us probably have faced in our lifetime, and that's like eviction. Like, that's one of the worst things I think that can happen to people in certain times, and it's always at the wrong time. I think life happens to all of us, and there's a lot of things that we need to know. And you've got an eviction notice, and you've got this language on here, and you got a court date, and all of this stuff, and there's just a whole lot of information out there about that. So Donald, can you just kind of walk us through, like, if I'm a tenant and I'm facing eviction?
Well, basically what happens is, understand that before a property owner can evict you for not, like, for example, for not paying your rent, they must, it's required that they give you notice letting you know, first of all, what fees are due, establishing a timeline when you have to pay them, and then who you can pay them to, right? I'm going to say it again. They must give you the fees, total fees that are due. They must set a timeline for when they have to be paid, and then who your payment needs to be paid to. Because, and this notice has to be given prior to March 1st. So before March 1st of this year, property owners had to give you a 14-day notice of these things, right? The ordinance changed where now, as of March 1st, 2025, that if you're at risk of an eviction, then you have to give a heads up. So you're now given a 30-day notice. So there is a 30-day notice prior to the eviction being filed, not after it's been filed, or they can go down to the court today. They have to give you 30-day notice prior to them. And that 30-day period starts the day the notice is mailed or hand delivered to you, right? And so after the 30 days, the property owner can then start the eviction process if the total amount due isn't paid, or if you don't move from the property, whichever one comes first, right? That's when they can start that process. And they can go down, file the paperwork, and understand something. Some people don't know, when they just with them filing the paperwork.
Yep, go ahead, bro.
That can already put a UD, an unlawful detainer, on your record.
Yep.
That's before you go to court. That's before judgment is made. Them going down, filing the paperwork against you automatically puts an unlawful detainer against you, automatically. So we tell people all the time, because our first thing as renters is something, if the property owner ain't doing something that we want them to do, I ain't going to pay them rent. I ain't going to give them my money and they ain't doing what I want them to do. No, we tell you, no, don't stop paying your rent. That's what they want you to do, because that gives them fuel to now go down and do what they need to go do.
Right.
However, we connect you with those free legal services that will help you put your money to pay your money into escrow. That way, the money is not going into their pocket per se, but you're paying it, but it's going to a third party who's holding it, if you will, until at least there's records showing you're still paying your rent. You know what I mean? So you don't want an unlawful detainer to be put against you. And so, again, if you're concerned about those processes, to make sure that you're crossing your T's, dotting your I's, make sure you reach out to our team. Or your situation, if your landlord or property owners told you, they're threatening you with an eviction, reach out to us so we can connect you with those free legal services. I'm telling you, they will be able to help you and to be able to prepare you for how to move forward.
You dropped so many bars, Donald. Right. Like, it's crazy, and I wish we had more time to unpack. I'm gonna try to unpack a little bit just to acknowledge that, right? Because, like, and that's happened. Like, my landlord is just on some BS. I ain't paying him nothing. I'm finna move out, whatever. First of all, Minneapolis, if you don't know, you still owe that money, and that unlawful detainer is still filed on your record, right? So now, if you do want to go find another place, you have to also pay that whole entire total, and plus get the expungement off, the UD off your record. So going to like an expungement clinic to knock that off too. Is that right, Donald?
Absolutely. That's correct.
And I think people need to understand that, like, this stuff doesn't just go away because you move or don't pay out your rent. Like, I'm telling you, Minneapolis, it could follow you for years if you're not knowing what you have to know. And I just want to give out just a couple numbers. There's home line that you can go to about legal services, 612-728-5767. And then it's also legal aid, 612-334-5970. Also, Minneapolis, you can call. Go ahead, Kim.
When in doubt, just go ahead and dial 311.
Right.
Look, that's the first thing Donald said. I said, look.
Look at God, right? He's going to tell you already that 311 is the one to be able to call. Definitely. And it's true, Minneapolis. Y'all, we've been doing this show for a long time, and we have been singing the praises of 311 because they will put you into the right places to be able to get your questions answered. So Donald, as we kind of wrap up on this show, and I want to thank you, man, for carving out some time
Yes,
in your
sir. I appreciate you.
in your busy day. Like, give folks just some like lasting information, like some lasting tips about knowing their rights as a renter.
Absolutely, definitely. Again, appreciate the invitation. Let me just say this: understand, even there's other rights that protect you. I talked about the pre-eviction notice and things, but there's also another ordinance that I want you all to be made aware of. That's connected to our renters' rights, and that's called a renters' rights mandatory disclosures. Right? That means that there's mandatory disclosures that the property owner must provide you with before you start signing leases and moving into spaces, right? That includes the property's rental license, hearing status, and violations should be made aware to you. You should be made aware of the history of that property. What violations are open? What's the history of it? Does the property have a valid rental license?
Right.
Understand something. Someone cannot be requesting rent from you if they do not hold a valid City of Minneapolis rental license. So if they don't have a license, they should not be soliciting rent from you. Okay. The name and physical address of the property owner and/or manager who is serving as the legal contact for the property. That information you need to be knowing. Not an 800 number, not this. You should be knowing who is the point of contact that handles the concerns of that property. There's a lot more that comes with that, but it's very important. And they should be providing other lead disclosures, different things of that nature that comes with that. It's all about, again, life safety. We want to make sure you're in safe and livable spaces. These things should be provided to you prior to you putting your name on any line that you're going to commit to moving into this space.
Man, I'm so glad you said that. You know what come to my mind too, Kim and Donald, is the early days of Craigslist, right?
I forgot all about Craigslist.
You're right. But they had all these beautiful homes for like $200, but the money had to go to the landlord who lived like in Africa somewhere. Or you right? Do you remember those? And
I do. Yeah.
It was a scam, right? It was a scam. So like you would also be taking out of your money. But when you talk about like they need to show me that you qualify for me to move into your place too, Donald. And that's kind of what you're saying. That's really good. So I think that's important, man. And again, Brother Donald Brown, housing liaison team, man. How long you been in the streets, bro? Like, what's break us down real quick.
I've been working with the city 18 years. That's my 18th year going into it. And again, I started in 311, and so that helped catapult me. You know, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to be able to navigate through the city. You know, being promoted along the way. But I've always had a heart for people. You know, I have a heart to help people, and I wanted to be in roles and positions that was going to do just that. To be out and help the community, help educate them, help inform them, to help them be better. You know what I'm saying? And so you'll find our team is not the work that we do is 90 to 95% communal, meaning that we're always in community. So you're going to find us at the open streets, Juneteenth events, all of the community events. It's very important that we are seen and that we are known and we're visible, right? And so we're not inspectors, we're not enforcement. We are coming in to help represent the people, help represent the community to enhance their livability.
Yeah, bro. Like I appreciate you, man. 18 years, man, is a blessing, man, and it's really about the work that you and your team. Like I mean, I can sit here and sing the praises of everybody on the housing liaison team. It'd be another half hour because I'd be giving everybody their roses. You know what I'm saying? But I just really appreciate it because as a we all here, but Kim is community, I'm community, you community. We appreciate the value of relationships. We appreciate the value. We appreciate the authenticity. Right. And we value honesty. Right. I think that's one of the biggest things. And like if you out there just walked off a cave and you was trying to do community engagement, them the 3 foundational principles that you need to do to be able to be a community member. So, bro, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Tell Daryl he still owed me some ribs from St. Louis a long time ago. So tell him I ain't forgot about that, bro. I'm gonna get him when I see him.
Hey, your girl need a plate too.
Hey, bring and a plate for Kim too.
I got y'all. Thank you all again. We look forward to connecting y'all soon. Y'all take care.
All right, Thank you so much. Wow, that was good.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's important, Kim. Go
it
ahead.
is. No, that's what I just was going to say. Like a lot of times we just don't know. And so I want to encourage all of you that are tuned in to please spread the word, share the info, because we can't hold this information hostage. And of course, there's always somebody asking. I've had people ask me, and I'm like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to know to call 311.
Your man called 311 because you make it's too much money to be making. It's hard to make, man, when you getting not your own service for it. So.
Right. Someone is calling. Should we see?
Yeah,
Real
let's
quick?
see.
Let's just
Yeah.
see. Let's make sure we get rid of that one. KMOJ, what's your name? Where you calling from?
People ask me, and I'm like,
I just have a question.
Okay.
I'm glad.
Is he just talking about Minneapolis, or does that go with St. Paul also, or the whole Minnesota state?
Yeah, I would think it, and I would think that it would probably be the whole state. Maybe Minneapolis has specific things that might be different than like St. Paul. But I think if you live in Minneapolis, call 311, and they can guide you to the right answer for that question, right? So like, if you're thinking that you can, if it affects you in St. Cloud or somewhere else, can you call Minneapolis and they'll guide you to that, or get on the website, right?
And then just probably Google renters' rights in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when in doubt, we did give a phone number though, so we could definitely share.
I missed it. I was driving and I couldn't write it down.
Got you. You got a pen now?
Yeah.
Okay, because we can give it to you real quick, and they may be able to direct you to who in St. Paul can help as well.
Okay.
You want the home line or that legal aid?
The legal aid.
Okay, it's 612 334 5970.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
All right. You're welcome.
Yeah, this is important to people. You know, we've had some callers before, so I wish we had another half hour.
I know.
You know, Q waiting.
He waiting on us, so we go. Q, we gonna turn it over to you in just a few minutes.
Hey, good to see you, sister.
You too, always. All right, Twin Cities, we're gonna get back into the jams, and up next is Walter Q Bear Banks over at Brookdale Health.